talking about being a victim.
Being a victim, and what do you like? What specifically do you want to talk about?
Well, I think there's like two types of victim. There's a victim where something has happened to you, a crime, an incident, a situation. And then there's another kind of victimhood where maybe someone's leading you to believe you're a victim.
Yeah. And so I guess I think maybe we have kind of different things that we want to talk about in this video. They're kind of the same. But I guess I had a kind of a bone to pick with like being a victim, and not to make a victim another victim. But my problem with being a victim is that it doesn't do anything for you. And I guess what we were talking about was we don't want to discount anything that has ever happened to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to say
healing process that they need to go through, professional help they need to get.
Yeah, we don't want to be like insensitive. Like, people have gone through some serious stuff, and you know, we get that. But I guess what I'm talking about is, I guess like you were saying, there's a couple different types of victims, and the first one is like, yeah, hey, you had something bad happen to you. There's a multitude of things that could happen to you, but you choose to identify through the rest of your life that you are a victim, and you focus on it. And I find that to be a problem because, you know, it's not going to lead you down a path of success, is my feeling. And you know, I think oftentimes people need to understand, I'm not saying this for my benefit. Like, I'd be saying it for everybody else's benefit. I don't know. It's not even like something I believe. It's something I know, that if you go through the rest of your life playing a victim, it's not going to help you at all.
I think for me, I'm on a journey of becoming whole and not letting my mind take over, living the best life that I can live, and understanding like what we've talked about before with creating your own reality, which it's in line with what you were just saying. We have the power to create our reality, and if you're identifying as a victim, it's going to affect the reality you're creating for yourself. And to me, on a journey of trying to be a whole person, it's just not something that's serving you. So it's basically this, we're discussing the same thing, it's just different words that we use.
Yeah. And I guess like I was explaining is, you know, we don't want to stop the grieving process or anything like that. There's a process you got to go through, but I think one of my biggest gripes is with the people that they create reasons that you're a victim. You know, and like we were talking, just because it's the best example I can think of off the top of my head, like we were talking about food deserts, you know, and how if you don't live close enough to a grocery store that provides good food, you're a victim of being a food desert, in a food desert. And you know, we were talking, and I don't understand that, because we live about 10 miles from the closest grocery store, a little bit less, and by definition, if we live just a little bit further, then we'd be victims, but we're not, because we live within the range. But I don't understand. I think that's the point, is I don't understand how I would be a victim if we lived just a little bit further out. But that is the point, is because I don't have a victim mentality. Like, if the grocery store was 20 miles away, my mentality would say, oh, well, I've got to go 20 miles to the nearest grocery store. That's just what it is. I don't have a mentality of like, there needs to be a grocery store closer because I'm a victim, you know? So
I would even like to say, preface, that even if it wasn't in a car, both of us would find a way to get to the store. Like, we would ride bikes, we would walk.
It would be a reality. It would just be a reality
Yes.
that the store is this far away, and that's what we need to do to get there.
Yeah.
But I feel like even more important that, like you're talking about, is like not only would we find a way to get there, but we would try to find a way to be happy when we tried to get there, right? Like let's make a game out of it, or let's enjoy the scenery, or let's appreciate that we can look around on our bicycle. Let's appreciate that we can walk. Like you were saying earlier, like let's appreciate that we have the opportunity to get some exercise to go get food.
Yeah.
You know, it's looking at the bright side and not, this is what I'm saying though, is like a victimhood, like yes, things can happen to you, but it's also a mentality, and that mentality is holding you back. And that's what I said. I'm not saying this for me, I'm saying it for anybody who feels this way. And that's it, is like you need to not have this mentality and not be your own worst enemy.
Yeah, and there's some enabling that's going on in the world that's enabling people to stay in a victim reality rather than like take accountability for themselves. And
Yeah.
I mean, you are only in charge of yourself. Nobody else is in charge of you, and you have this power within you to create your reality. And me and Eric could be like, fuck, we gotta go 20 miles to the store on our bike, and we could be miserable the whole way there. We could say this isn't fair, other people live 10 miles closer to the grocery store than we do. Or you can make it an amazing trip and be like, oh my god, my legs work and I get to drive or ride my bike to the fucking store today.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's just a ton of examples of how to be a victim, and how somebody has done something to you and how somebody is holding you down. You know, it's like we were talking about, like the white man. The white man is holding everybody down. And, you know, it's this, if you have that mentality and you want to have the mentality, then, I mean, go ahead. But think about, like, every day you wake up and you're like, oh man, I would love to be successful in business, or I would love to have a better job, or I'd love to do this. Oh, I can't because somebody's holding me down. And I guess that was the point I was trying to bring up, is these people who tell people that they're victims of a food desert or the white man, or, you know, like anything, like police, or like anything that's holding them down, they're always like, their narrative is like, you can't be successful because it's built into the system that like a white man is going to be successful. So you don't even try. Like, don't even try to do it. Don't like put any effort in. And that's what people buy into, and they go, oh yeah, the white man, he's holding me down. I can't start a business because it's only what rich white people do. Which rich white men do. And so they don't try. But that is opposite what I'm saying. Is I'm saying, I don't care who you are, yes you can. Yes you can. Get up in the morning and get to work. And that's what not being a victim is I'm saying, like, okay, well maybe rich white men do run everything. Does that mean that you can't be successful? No, of course not. There's so many people of every race, every sex, that are successful, that it's proven that it can be. It's you being your own worst enemy, and like, this is where you go check out our video of like you making things up, because that's what this is you're making it up that you can't do something because somebody's holding you down, which is not true. Like, maybe if you were in some third world country where you had no resources, but in the United States, anybody can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, your steps may be harder than somebody else's, but that's the whole thing. You don't focus on those things, or you can say, I can learn more because I have extra steps than other people have to take. You can, again, switch your reality. Like, it's completely in your control of how you want to look at it.
Yeah, but just don't play the victim, and just realize that you're a powerful person. Like, everybody's powerful, and don't get down. And I mean, we're talking about people being victims for their whole life. That's one of the points I want to bring up is, like, I was talking to you about how you could have gotten like brutally beaten up by some gang of people when you were 15, and when you're on your deathbed, say at 80, how do you want to look back on your life? And if you're looking back on your life going, well, I got beat up by a gang of people when I was 15, and that just set the tone for my whole entire rest of my life. Like, who wants to do that? Like, that's not a thing. The better way to go about it would be like, I got beat up by a gang of people when I was 15, and I was pretty jacked up for, I mean, how long did it take? 5 years even. I was jacked up until I was 20. But after 20, I realized that this wasn't the path for me. And so I got my stuff together, I was successful, I had a family, and like I had friends, and like I did all these successful things. What do you want to look back on your deathbed? Do you want to look back on, oh, pity me, I'm a victim and I didn't do anything with my life? Or, hey, I pulled it together. And something happened to me at 15, but it didn't determine the rest of my life. And that's what I think you need to think about is like, do you want to be this person that could never be successful because a grocery store was a couple blocks further away? Like that's insane.
Yeah, it is insane.
So, did we cover everything?
Yeah, so I think we've just basically a little rundown. We've told people, just their mindset is a powerful thing and they don't have to be a victim. Have gratitude. Gratitude is everything. Look at what you do have, not what you don't have. And like Eric said, wake up in the fucking morning and go to work.
Yeah.
Go to work and go achieve what you want to achieve. If you want to start a business, start a business. If you want to go to college, go to college.
If you want to be somebody, you got to do something.
Yeah.
And you got to get to work. You got to put the hard work in, and enjoy the hard work. I think that's the secret. Is nobody wants to just go to work and slave away. Go to work and enjoy what you're doing, and that's true success, in my opinion. Mastering the mind in all dimensions.
Well, another thing that you brought up that I don't think we discussed yet was being in the present moment, which I think is a huge help. If you can learn to live in this moment and not think about your ex-boyfriend that broke up with you or girlfriend and how they broke your heart or whatever it is for you. If you can live like this is, you only have now. And if you live that way, it can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I mean, minus like the food desert example and a couple others, like you're not a victim right now. I mean, probably not a victim right now. So you should appreciate this moment and understand that you just don't live life in the past. Don't live in the future either, though. Live it for now.
Yeah, and again, we're completely not. We're not being insensitive to, like, if you've had something happen to you recently and you're dealing with it. I mean, it takes time to deal with things. We've covered that, but we're just not talking about that. We're talking about letting it consume you and not taking ownership of yourself.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's it, unless you had something else.
I think we covered most everything. It's a lot of these topics transfer over to each other, so there's actually a lot more to talk about, but we're saving it for other videos. So like making stuff up, the devil angel. I mean, this applies in this situation too. Like the devil could be like, hey, let's be a victim because then people feel sorry for you and like you'll get things and blah blah blah, and it doesn't work out. But all our videos tie in together, and this one's tying in too. So if you haven't watched other videos, check out our other videos because they'll tie into this one. They'll make more sense, and in the future they'll all tie. We're trying to plan these videos so they make more sense going forward because they all rely on something. So yeah, we've got more to say about it, but it'll be in another video.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey.
Signing
bye.
off. Goodbye.